having technical difficulties.
Good evening, guys, and thank you for tuning in to another night with me, A Queen, here in the She Shack, where we're having some healthy conversation. Today is Thankful Tuesday, and it's one of my most favorite days of the week. I may seem a little dreary today. I have been under the weather, actually fighting a series of cold and illness for about 4 or 5 days. I wasn't even sure if today we were actually going to be able to come to you live, but being that today is such an important day, not only that it's Thankful Tuesday, but it's November the 8th, and it is Vote Day. It's the day that we raise our voices and make our voices be heard. Last week on Tuesday, we didn't get an opportunity to speak a lot about exercising our right to vote and our civil duty to vote. But today, we're going to be talking about that. You know, we're in the series of creating the new you. So tonight, we'll be talking about mastering our thoughts in our series of creating new you. So we have a lot of things to unpack in a very short amount of time. I'm being told to speak up. I'm doing my best with this thing, y'all, so you have to work with me today. The girl, I'm telling you. Honey, I had a childhood illness that like took me out here. I ain't gonna even lie, it made me feel like the end was near. But by the grace of God, I am actually feeling better. Better than I felt in maybe about 5 days. So I'm excited about that. I always have the pleasure of having my lovely, beautiful mother sitting with me here in the She Shack. We're just gonna call you a co-host. I think we need to give her like a name on the She Shack. Like, you know, people that are in our intimate circle, they know you as baby, but I think you need to have like a host name. You on the She Shack every Tuesday.
Well, I'm here because I'm supporting my daughter.
Oh, so you don't want to be like a hostess or like a
I could be. I mean, I'll be whatever you want me to be. I'm here to do whatever it takes. I'm 100% supporting my daughter in her endeavor. Matter of fact, I think it's because I keep encouraging and pushing her to make her do this that she does it
every single week. She does not let me forget. No matter how many projects is on the table that we have to do the She Shack. And
so I enjoy it. I really do. I enjoy it. I've had the opportunity to speak on quite a few things, personal and otherwise. Probably some things that I never really spoke about that just kind of came out, and I sometimes I have to laugh because I see the expression on your face when I'm talking about it.
Some stuff I'm telling you I'm not ready for.
No, she's not. Some of the things I say is like first timers, and I'm just putting it out there because I feel that, as she said last week, I've evolved. For a long time my kids and my ex-husband said I was always angry. So I came from being angry. I went through this here thing where I wasn't really sure. At one point I kind of lost my confidence. And
that's actually what our series entail. Like our series kind of like entail or unpack or stand in front of saying that it's okay to be who you are. And not only is it okay that you don't have to fit in a bottle of what anybody think you should be. One of the biggest hush conversations amongst brown skin girls is not living in the image of of your parent, of your mom, or
Well,
if you
I'm not gonna
hear me out, because
you're
this
not
is
living in my image.
you no, but I used to, and this is the part maybe that you don't know, that it was very hard for me to try to kind of find my space, because it was especially becoming a mom so young. I knew that's not what you wanted for me. You made it very clear how dismayed you were by the choices that I was making younger in life, and it made me feel like a failure. It made me feel like I have to do this because I know this is what my mom would want me to do. I have to. It's like everything up over my head for a long period of time in my life was a cloud of, because I know my mom would want me to. Like when I stepped out.
You got to think about it this way, Ben. I always wanted more for you than I wanted for myself.
No, I'm not saying I think every parent wants that. That's not what I'm saying here.
I get it, and I know that. No, I wasn't happy. I was more or less in a state of shock, along with you and everybody else initially. But then, after I thought about it, maybe I never said it, but after I thought about it, I always felt that children are blessings. Regardless of how they get here.
Well, I think this must have came with your getting older, honey, because that was not happening when I was having kids.
No, it definitely wasn't happening.
But
like I
need you to receive what I'm trying to say, though. But I do need you to receive it. This is not like me pointing fingers, but this is a part of this. This was a part of my space in life where I was so uncertain. I was uncertain. I don't think maybe the realization of how you were disappointed, or how my life was going in a direction that you didn't want it to go in, like how that was projected onto me. I'm
sure it was.
Not just
we used to fight.
But the thing was, I felt like, well, if anybody would understand that, or even have some kind of support or anything, would have been you. Because, I had my first kid before I graduated high school, but I graduated with honors.
Yeah,
I was always even though young, put in front of me the responsibilities of what I had. So, which at the time was my kids. I get it. Parent. Like, even me, I'm a parent. I wouldn't be like, yay, let's throw up some damn confetti. You 19 and you about to drop your third kid. Hell no, I'm not saying that. I'm like, it was like it was both parents. It was one parent saying, okay, if you're not going to go to college, go to the military. There's another parent over here saying, don't go to the military, period. Then it was, you can have an opportunity to do this, or you can do this, or you can do that, but you got to do it on your own. I didn't know how to fill out a FAFSA form to go to college, but I figured it out. I didn't know how to fill out a job application, but I figured it out. I didn't know how to use condoms, but I had to figure it out. And I felt like I was having to figure things out because you were so upset, because you were so pissed with me for, oh, you got another baby, and the relationship, you got this one in here coming sarcastically, whatever the case may be. It was a lot of figure it out. It was a lot of, you got to figure it out. Like, I'm not helping you. You gonna have to figure it out. And because of that, then I was angry. I was so angry. I'm like, well, damn. Well, if who gonna help me? Whatever the case may be. But today, I can say I appreciate you got to figure it out, because I figured it out.
Well, okay, I'll accept what you said, because of the fact I do know and I do understand that during that period of your life, you were very defensive, okay? And she was stubborn, she was defensive, And a lot of time we would get into arguments. It had got so bad at one point that I just stopped speaking to her. Okay?
I think we stopped speaking to each other because I certainly was not speaking to you.
Right. Well, I don't know who wasn't speaking to who, but it went on for quite some time. But then, this is the thing. All of that came to a halt. All of that anger and fighting and bickering and not speaking to one another, I think all of it came to a halt when I took sick for the first time. Because even though we wasn't speaking, you was still there. And then the other thing was, I was really going through a lot, even with your brother. I had a lot on my plate at the time. A lot was going on in my own household that you knew nothing about. Okay?
Vice versa.
And vice versa, you know. I mean, I'm not going to really get into the details of all of it because
Excuse me.
it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to drug up over things that you can't really do anything about at this point in time. You know, because at the end of the day, the resolution solved itself. But I came to the realization after a while, after I went through everything that I had went through, that I need my daughter in my life. So stop pushing her away and do whatever you need to do to keep the peace. And that's the realization for me. Okay.
For me, it was.
It had gotten to a point. Because, see, this is the thing. I raised my kids to be close.
No. This is not about.
No, just let me finish. Let me just finish, you know. So when I raised them that closeness, I backed away from it. You know, I backed away from what I instilled in my own kids. All right? So I had to look at the person in the mirror.
The camera's over there.
Oh, well, okay, camera, hey. I had to look at the person. I had to talk to the person that was the image in the mirror. Like, what the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing? What? Hey, chick, over here. What you doing?
Okay, hold that thought. Hold that thought, because I think we kind of like, we're getting into, I guess, like, resolutions or healing and stages of that, but there's a lot of things that get compartmentalized before you get to that stage. And obviously we have a beautiful relationship, so it's not like, well, what did you do, or how did you, you know, like our relationship. No, maybe that's not true. We're not even about to listen.
I mean,
one thing about me, listen, you're gonna get the 100% truth, and that what she said right now. Okay, that's not quite how it happened, but I wanted to. It just did. It didn't happen quite like what she said.
I mean, it didn't happen overnight.
But what I do want to, what the point is in this and on this journey of growth and in our series of creating the new you, the biggest thing and the most important thing that we want to convey is that you are the most important factor. Like, it's you. What makes you happy inside? If you, like, with my mother and I, a lot of people didn't know that we had a contentious relationship for quite for many years. But when it became about her growth individually for her and about my growth individually for me, we were both able to see in a different light. And how do you get to a place where you can start seeing things in a different light? It all starts here. You got to get your heart and your mind together. So tonight we're going to be talking about mastering your thoughts and manifesting things that you want in your life. And giving you tips and ideas of how to just kind of like strike the fire and get it going. Some She Shacks back. Some back in the summertime. Some She Shacks back. we brought up a book that's called Think and Grow Rich.
Oh, yeah.
And in this book, it talk a lot about manifesting what you want out of your life. What do you want? We also discussed some things out of the book The Secret that also talk a lot about how when you change the way you actually think, you can change the bubble of your life. Like you can literally change, like think it into what you want it to be. And that's what we're going to be talking about. You can literally change the course of the way things are going if you start thinking differently. Like literally thinking differently. Like eradicating negative thoughts. Like completely anytime a negative thought come into your no, we're not about to do that. Even if you have, because I sometimes talk to myself and I'll say, I'll be like, self, not today, but auto-suggestion and faith and manifestation, all of these these words that you hear popping all over social media, everywhere you hear people talking about. You hear people talking about manifesting their wealth and manifesting their millions and manifesting their husbands and manifesting their wives. But how do you get to a place where this is actually coming to fruition? That's the thing. Because you hear a lot of people, it's almost like it's a trend, honey. You know how some of y'all might not know, but back in the day when they had like used jeans and that was a trend and everybody was wearing the used jeans with the stone wash, or now they like the jeans with the holes in them and all that kind of stuff. It's a trend. But then when the trend is over, when that era is over, it's gone. So all you left with is old trendy things. You're not left with what did you really do the work to manifest anything? Obviously, if it's just a trend, you're just what they say.
Well, just like
stumping around in a circle.
Yeah, that's true. You got to have a made up mind and a discerning heart. That's my. I always say that you have to have a made up mind and a determined heart, because your heart and your mind has to work together. Okay. One cannot function without the other if you set goals in front of yourself. And then the other thing I always say, don't set unreachable goals.
Well,
all right.
I don't think goals are unreachable. Well, I think that sometimes we are not in the right place in our lives for a goal that we want. So, but it takes steps like one goal, to the next goal, to the next goal.
I understand that, so
it's taking baby steps, but I don't think that I don't believe in unrealistic goals.
I'm not saying, what I'm saying is, just like you said, short-term goals can manifest your long-term goals. I could take my own self as an example. I set goals for myself, okay? I set short-term goals. And once I have achieved that short-term goal, it gives me the inspiration or the confidence to say that, okay, I can do X, Y, Z because I did this over here. So let me see, can I do this over here? And I'm constantly working on my goal setting, per se.
I have a suggestion. I'm not saying your way of goal setting. I'm not saying that that's not a good idea. But I also would say this. I don't know, that's how I learned how to set goals when I was in school. But what I learned in my adult life, that ain't working for me.
Well, it worked for me back in the 80s and 90s. But it's not going to work for me now either. But the same thing, you gotta, if you don't have something to work towards, what are you doing?
Can't give me a second. Just give me 1 second. It's not that I'm saying you're not setting a goal, but sometimes it's not. That short-term goal is really for the day. Like today, today I ain't smoking no cigarettes. Period.
Well, you supposed to be smoking at all.
a goal. I don't listen. I'm not talking about now because that's how I was able to quit smoking cigarettes. I ain't smoking cigarettes no more. That's it. That's all. Boom. That's it. But in my mind, I had been thinking of this for months before it actually came into an action, and now my heart, my mind, my spirit, my soul is in one place. And I was able to take a fresh pair of cigarettes, throw them in the trash, and that was the end of the cigarettes.
Well, that's the same thing I'm saying. You may be saying it in a different manner, but we
what
both
I'm saying is
thing.
this. You know, short-term goal could be, I'm going to do whatever in 3 months. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about today. Like, for a person that maybe been smoking for 20 years, to just say, I'm not going to smoke any cigarettes today is a big thing. Or I'm not going to say cuss words today because I cuss like a sailor. Or I'm not going to, procrastinate. Like, even, I'll give you an example for me. It was consistency. Consistency was my word until consistency became natural, normal for me. Like, every single day, I'm going to be consistent. Like, that's a goal. Every single day until I can get consistent straight, I'm just going to work on being consistent. Consistent with what? My first thing was, I'm going to get a consistent prayer life. That was my goal. So even though I wasn't, like, in some days, I wasn't good at it. But the thing is, when you get to a place when you're working on creating the new you, like peeling off that old stuff and creating the new you, you got to understand and give yourself a little credit and don't beat yourself up when you fall a little short, because that was something that I was guilty of. Like, I was literally like guilty of, like, dang, I got to start all over. I didn't all this, like, literally beating myself up, feeling defeated before I even allow myself to start. But the point is,
this is the thing. Sometimes we are our own worst critic.
That's absolutely true.
All right.
But the other thing I want to say,
beating yourself up is, I've done the same thing. I've beat my own self up.
I think we all are guilty of it. But what I'm saying to you is this: how do you eradicate beating yourself up? Is give yourself room for error. You didn't create the behavior or get the habit overnight. You're not going to break the habit overnight. So you have to give yourself a little room to breathe. It doesn't mean that the goal that you're setting for yourself is not going to be ascertained. Absolutely not. That's not what that means. That's not what this means. What it means is, if you're giving yourself a chance to make a mistake, I'm just saying, just give yourself, like, if you know, it's like this. It's like this. I'm not saying if you went to 6 o'clock and you didn't smoke a cigarette, and now all of a sudden at 8 you smoke one, give yourself the credit that you went from morning to 8. Right? So now you know you can go from the time you get up to 8 o'clock. So now the challenge is going to be, tomorrow I'm going to try to go till 9.
And this is the other thing,
about
creating the new you. You have to be able to accept positive criticism. Okay?
Positive criticism.
Yes. You have to be able to accept positive criticism, because the thing about criticism...
Explain positive criticism.
Something that somebody says or recognize something that you're doing that you don't know that you are doing, and they confront you with it. They're not confronting you with it in a negative manner. They are confronting you with it so you could be better. That is what I would consider as positive criticism. For a long time, I didn't know exactly what that was, but I learned what positive criticism was. And to me, positive criticism, just like you tell me all the time, Ma, you don't have no filter. That's positive criticism. You know why? Because I never recognized the fact that I didn't. I always, in my mind, I'm going to say whatever I feel. Sometimes it comes out the right way and sometimes it doesn't. But because of the fact you said, Mom, you don't have no filter. You don't have no filter. You said that to me for a long time. I was like, eventually it sunk in that, okay, I don't have a filter. So I need to be more mindful of sometimes when I'm saying things. That's positive criticism. So rebuilding or creating the new you have to be able to accept positive criticism, regardless of who it's coming from. You have to be able to accept it, whether it's coming from you as my daughter, or my son, or a stranger in the street. Sometimes you have to be able to accept that.
I don't disagree that somebody may be able to come and say, you know, hey, I think you're doing a great job. However, you know, maybe you could think about adding this or removing this or this or that and the third. I don't think anything is wrong with that. But
and see, there's the but.
There's a but. For me, it's a but. And I'll tell you why it's a but for me. I'll take the good and the bad. It don't matter. Because you can grow from the bad too. So what the people saying behind your back, the haters, whatever, you know what? I listen to that too. Because all of it, the whole basket is, for me, all I'm going to do is pick out of it what I want to anyway. Like what other people have to say, it matters. But the only say that really matters when you're talking about you is you. So where do you get the blueprint from? Everybody find a different place. And I'm not going to tell you, you know, you need to go here or you need to go there. For me, my faith was my foundation. That's where I started. I had to get all the way back to my roots. My roots for me was my faith. And being honest, the lack thereof, like the lacking of faith, the lacking of consistency of showing up for God and how I'm always calling on Him to come show up for me. That was my reality. My reality started to sink in, and when my reality started to sink in, it was like, well, is this it? Or do you want more?
Well, see,
and when I decided that I wanted more, when I decided that I wanted more, I wanted to be more of a communicator. I wanted to be more of an advocate. I wanted to improve my skills as a parent. I wanted to be a better mate. I wanted to be a better daughter. I wanted to be a better friend. I just wanted to be a better vet. But I wanted to be who I knew I felt I was inside, and often suppressed it because, you know, this might make this one feel uncomfortable, or may not like this about me, or may not like the way I say this, or might like the way I have dressed my hair, or might not like this or that and the third. So I found myself a lot of times suppressing a lot of me for the comfort of other people. I don't know if anybody else can relate to that, but I know I would literally felt like I needed to suppress myself in a room at times when I was with certain people or around certain people, because I didn't want them to think that I was trying to captivate the audience or take the spotlight off of them, or, you know, I'm a vibe all by myself all the time. I don't even need company. Like, I'm literally a vibe, and I had to understand that about myself, that you a whole ball of energy by yourself, and there's going to be people that's going to love that ball of energy, and then there's going to be people who ain't going to love it. And I had to be okay with knowing that I'm this ball of energy, and this is who I am, and now I want God to take his finger file, and smooth out all these edges, right? Not perfection, just smooth me out.
This is the thing. You say you have to first look at your faith. as they say, faith without works is dead. So
I understood that.
Okay.
But I didn't have faith. No, I'm not gonna say I didn't have faith, but I was no. Let me see how I can say this. I wasn't in church the way I was supposed to. I wasn't living the way I was supposed to be living. I was spending way too much time in the nightclubs and not enough time at my house.
Well,
I didn't have balance. So when I say my faith wasn't right, that's my clarification on that. Now there was a time where I had to be in the nightclubs. I had to be because that's where I was handing out flyers and that's where the money was coming from.
Well, I mean,
but at the end of the day, I'm just saying, for me, when I got to be to a certain age, I started to feel a little lost.
Well, that's what they call wisdom, honey. That is what they call wisdom. As you grow older, the things that you did in your 20s, I dare you not. You don't do them now.
That's not true. That's not true. Some of my stuff in 20s, they're still over here in 40. But
you don't do them the same. You don't do them the same.
No, I say my priorities changed.
Yeah, your priorities change.
But priorities are always changing. It doesn't take for you to be from 20 to 40 before your priorities change. My priorities change from sometimes in a 6-month time or a year's time or all of that kind of thing. But what I want to convey in this series part 2 of creating a new you, and I purposely named it Mastering Your Thoughts. And the reason why I purposely named it that is because that's where you're going to find your peace. When you get this one thing in check, controlling your thoughts, I can guarantee you're going to find your peace. Because your peace is going to come when you start pushing out all that negative energy. It's going to get quiet.
Well,
you're going to be able to hear you're going to be able to hear yourself. You're going to be able to hear from God, and you're going to be able to hear from your heart. Because now you have gotten quiet. It gets quiet when you no longer have these thoughts racing through your mind. You know what that means? You're not worrying anymore. I'm not worried about if the lights is going to get paid, or if I'm going to be able to pull off something for Christmas, or if I'm going to have enough money at the end of the week to get this all changed or whatever. I'm no longer worried about it.
And you know why she's no longer worried about it? Because God said you have to be content in whatever situation you are in. Okay? That's the word itself. So she's learning those things. I learned those things. And the people out there in YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you're watching us at, you guys gonna have to learn the same thing.
You have to work this thing.
You have to work it.
You're not. Don't keep reading it in a book. Don't keep reading it on the books. Don't keep reading. Get the planners.
Wait a minute. Let me say this. Let me say this, and then you can go with whatever you want to go with. I read something very, very. I don't know the word that I'm using it, but this is what it said. I was reading this passage, and this passage said, if you were reading the words on the page, and if you don't put it into work, then there's just words on the page. And the same thing about your spiritual life. If you don't, you can have faith. Okay, you could be the best faith person in the world. But if you don't put your faith to work, okay, what do you have? Nothing. And I'm kind of paraphrasing it, but I found it to be very profound when I read it, because it made perfect sense. Absolutely perfect sense. And I agree with what Yvette is saying, because at the end of the day, you are your most important investment. You have to invest in yourself. Because if you don't invest in yourself, then how you going to make what everything else fall into line? You are the most important investment that you have. You the person. You are the most important investment that you have. Because you can't do nothing else if you're not healthy, if you don't take care of yourself. You can't be the best person you could be for yourself, for your husband, for your wife, for your children, or for your community. However you want to put it. You have to look in, she's right. You have to look inside yourself. And then you have to pull out what don't need to be there. My prayer is, God, whatever is in me that does not need to be, remove it. I'm not saying, if it's a person, I'm not telling you to kill him. Just move him out of my life so I can move forward. And that's the same thing that she's saying. She's just saying it in her way, and I'm saying it in my way. So I commend her for her growth. Okay? Just like she looking at me, she said, "Mom, you're not the person that you used to be." She tells me that all the time. And I be looking at her like she got 2 or 3 heads on her shoulder. You know? But then I have to realize what she was saying, because I had to go back and look at my own track record. All of us have one. Some of our track records are good and some of them are not so good. But we all got a track record. And we all evolve. And as a female or as a man, you are your best investment. You're the investment. Because you can't put forth anything unless you invest in yourself first. So you go right ahead. But that's what I wanted to say that. And maybe I'm saying it for somebody, that they need to hear that. You have to invest in yourself. So, go ahead.
So like I was saying,
there you go.
I would have gave you, listen, first of all, we're not going to even go there, but this series is about mastering your thoughts.
That is mastering your thoughts.
So, I always give you an opportunity to say what you want to say.
I'm sorry.
However, what I want to convey, because this is 20 whatever years different, and a lot of wisdom comes from there.
35.
A lot of wisdom come from over there, but I had to, even with where she wanted to pour and give, I still had to create my own way. And that's what I'm telling you, that it's okay to create your own way in your way.
Yeah, it is.
It's okay. Like, it doesn't have to be the way anybody before you did it. It doesn't have to be the way your mom doing it, your dad doing it, your sister or brother or cousin or aunt or the friend, the neighbor. It's okay for you to do it your way. When I'm giving, sharing experiences, I'm only sharing from what was working or what is working. It still gets tweaked. I still fall short. But one thing I learned to do was master my thoughts. I do not allow me to get in my head. Or sometimes when you sitting alone and you hear or you start thinking about, all the stuff that you have going on. And oftentimes when you're dreaming big and you're planning big and you're faithful for big, your big is here and your money is here, and somewhere and in between there you need faith, right? And you can often feel like, is my faith enough? Am I getting there? Is it growing? Because it don't seem like nothing quite moving. I'm doing what I know I'm doing the right things here, but nothing seemed to be generating what I needed to generate. And my message to you is to just be patient. Just keep doing what you're doing. Don't get in your own head. Don't get in your own way. Even when those thoughts come up, oh, it's not going to happen. Oh, I'm sick of this, all this. It's human frustration, human emotion. Don't get stuck there. Allow yourself to feel what you feel. And if you feel like, maybe I wish I hadn't have said it, or I wish I hadn't have done it, then nobody know you said it but you. So you can go to God and ask God to forgive you for getting in the way. But that's it. That's all we're going to discuss tonight. I want y'all to focus on mastering your thoughts. Because I can guarantee you the beautiful you is on the other side of you mastering your thoughts. And just like Mom said, to reiterate what she said, you are the most important factor. If you're not good to you, you most certainly will not be good to anybody else. Everybody is getting residuals, mediocre in pieces, but they're not getting an opportunity to love you, the real you, the real you, the happy you, the joyful filled you.
And another thing, and I guess this is the end, don't never look at your failures as a failure. Look at your failure as a new way to get what you want. See,
we actually talked about that in some She Shacks back.
Yeah.
When we talked about that.
Yeah, you don't look at it like, as a defeat. Because your failure is not a defeat. It really isn't. It's your opportunity to do it in a different manner. It's a learning opportunity. Okay? Because I had to look at, that's how I look at things now. I didn't look at it that way then. And a lot of times when I'm working on something, I really don't say a whole lot. Okay? I keep it quiet. Because then that way, if it doesn't work out, that's okay. But if it does work out, I get the joy from it, and then my family, my friends, or whoever, they get the opportunity to celebrate with me. Because a lot of times when you do something and it doesn't kind of pan out, the first thing somebody else is going to say, oh, I knew she wasn't going to do this. Oh, I knew that.
That's how you grow. But that's how you know how many business ventures I done been on. How many bright ideas. I'm like, this is the big one.
Yeah, she don't have.
But guess what? I'm not embarrassed about none of it, because I wouldn't be sitting right here in front of these cameras with the kind of courage that I have, that I never had before, sharing like my life to you in an open book, and hoping that because of things I've been able to face fearlessly, that I can also bring some love and some encouragement and some inspiration to someone else. That's what the She Shack is all about. Honestly, the She Shack is really about showing love, spreading love. Oh, also, we love small businesses here at the She Shack. I mean, love small businesses at the She Shack. So if you have a small business that you would like to feature, you would like to talk about, you would like to use our platform for some marketing, listen, don't even hesitate. You can hit us up. Actually, you can send an email to info@thesheshack.com. You can do the She Shack at conversationswiththequeen.com. You can hit us up on what they call it, the DMing. Am I saying that right? Because I'm so not with the DMing. So also you can actually
YouTube.
You can actually also call 302-471-3381 if you leave a voice message, and we will call you back. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We are spreading this thing globally, and we're doing it with your love and with your support. So I thank y'all so much for tuning in to another night with me here, Aqueen in the She Shack, with my mom, co-host. We gonna get her a name. I don't know what this name gonna be. We gonna get co-host a name, and we gonna get co-host a teleprompter. So when co-host can know when it's her time and when it's not. When it's her time, it's gonna say something, something. Cause the show says the She Shack. So that means both of us. And also, it's important that you're able to get two angles from a discussion.
And I just want to say this, and I know it's a little late in the hour, but I hope everyone got out and vote today. Voting is a way of making your voice being heard.
If you didn't vote, I am not having a conversation with you about what's going on in the world.
No.
I don't want to talk to you because you didn't vote. Your voice doesn't matter. It's called small talk. Nobody even hears it. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to the She Shack. I love you for real. We'll see y'all next week. Good night.
Good night.